What's up, everybody? I am Doggie Diamonds. This is Doggie Diamonds TV. This is the rundown, but the story time edition. The story time edition is when I tell stories about my trials and tribulations from beats to broadcasts, from my time as a producer, a DJ, to an interviewer, and being in media. So today I'm going to tell a story going back to 1992. I was in a group called the LBs, aka the Little Bastards. We were signed to Living Large / Tommy Boy. We're produced by Trackmasters. We had a song called B Get a Job in 1992. Did the Source tour, did the Source magazine, a lot of local shows, did very well on college radio. Wasn't really known, but for those who know, this is 1992. Going into 1993. So my earliest interaction into the culture was with Trackmasters. This is pre-Mariah Carey. This is the Chubb Rock Trackmasters. The first big record that they did was Ill Street Blues. So, Living Large was a subsidiary of Cold Chillin' Records. They were running two record labels in there. They were running Living Large, but they also was running Cold Chillin'. Cold Chillin' had lost its distribution. I'll get into that another time. But anyway, we were on Living Large, but it was Cold Chillin'. It was the same staff, same people, just the logo was different. So when you hear me say sometimes, oh, we was on Cold Chillin', the same CEOs, everything, just the logo was different. So we had a single deal. Didn't know it was a production deal, which I learned later on. I did the scratches on the record. I didn't rap on the record, but I did the scratches on the record. It's out there somewhere. Rapping on the record was my brothers, Teran Brown, rest in peace, aka Half, and Rob, aka Drama. They were rapping on the song. It was produced by Trackmasters. So, we went on tours. We would do little spot dates, get on planes, get on, buses, the regular tour stuff. We were kids, didn't understand the culture, didn't understand what you had to do to be an artist. We just knew, we got a record deal. Didn't know it was a single deal with an option. I remember Pokey was saying we shipped about 18,000 singles. This was 92, so that was big we didn't have no video, we didn't have anything. I'm in various videos all over the internet, but I'll never tell you which ones. You just have to, do the math and put two and two together. So we were at a point where, okay, what's next for them? We were young, 15, 14, and I think 16. Me being 15, Half being 14, and Drama being 16. We were young. We didn't know no better. We kids from Brooklyn, straight out the projects. I'm straight off the block. I'm talking about past the 40 on the block. We didn't know nothing about the music business. We didn't really have management. We just knew studio, go out there, perform. Our performance was ass. Our performance sucked. We didn't know how to perform for nothing. It's funny when I think back about it now because, we wasn't ready, but we thought we was ready. Talent-wise, we was ready, but as far as everything that needed to be done to be a artist, we didn't know nothing about that. Wasn't taught that. It was just, the record deal just came so easy and so fast. So we got a call that we were supposed to do a Pepsi commercial. What we didn't know was we were supposed to be starring in the Pepsi commercial. We thought we was going there to be extras for the Pepsi commercial. So we get to the city, took the train, get to the city, go there's a bunch of people there, there's people auditioning, it's wardrobe, it's stylists, all these people. And we got there and there was a bunch of people there. Now we knuckleheads, straight off the block, straight off the block. I think we hopped the train to get there. That's how we hopped the train. We didn't even have tokens back then. So one of my phones keep going off and it's very, very annoying. So we get there, we're in the area. It's in a no, it was actually in a school. The school might come to me, but not now. We're in the school. It was a classroom scene. Like I said, I didn't know the commercial was our commercial. And I remember us being around like some, other kids that wasn't street. So, this 1992, when you're around kids that's not of your caliber or not where you from, you looking at them like herb ass dudes. We got there. I remember one kid, he had on glasses. He was just a straight herb. Looking back in retrospect, he wasn't a herb. He was an actor. He was there to do his job. I wish we was there to do our job. So we had wardrobe. I don't know if you know anything about wardrobe for commercials and stuff. You cannot wear name brand stuff. You can only wear stuff with no labels on it unless you got clearance, unless there's a lot of clearance that got to go on. That's why on MTV at one point, they used to block out names and stuff. So we there, I think we got dressed. We put on some shirts, some pants. Shit wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing fun boyery or anything. It just wasn't what we was wearing. We was like, yo, why we can't wear what we got on? And they explained, you can't wear labels. We don't have clearance. We don't have permission. We there. The director of the commercial is the legendary Fab Five Freddy. Now, I knew who he was, but, my group members didn't know who he was. So I'm like, yo, that's Fab Five Freddy. Fab Five Freddy is like, y'all ready? And I'm like, yeah, we ready. My partner half was like, I don't know about this. We gonna look like suckers. I'm like, how? We doing a Pepsi commercial. But we thought we were extras. We didn't know you are the lead, bro. You're the lead. So he was like, nah, they not putting me in no Pepsi commercial with me looking like no sucker. Let's jet. And I'm like, let's do the commercial. Then Rob was like, yeah, we gonna look crazy. Let's jet. Then they convinced me, yo, let's jet. Yo, we can't be looking like suckers. We a hardcore group. I didn't know we was the lead. We didn't know we was the lead. We didn't know the actual Pepsi rap was ours. What we do? We leave. Fab Five Freddy say, where y'all going? We turn around and say, we ain't doing this shit. And we leave. Go back to the hood. What happened to the Pepsi commercial? Nah, they try to play us like suckers and all that. Young, not knowing. And this is what I tell people about opportunity, how you can blow opportunity, being naive, being young, and being ignorant to what's really going on. Long story short, we didn't do the commercial. We went home. Everything is cool. The next couple of days, we went up to Cold Chillin'. I remember going to the label. Shout out to OJ Wedlaw. That's the big bro right there. And I remember Fly Ty singing, what y'all doing up here? I was like, what you talking about? We always come up here. He's like, y'all not on this label no more. And we like, stop playing. He like, no, for real. Y'all not on this label no more. Why y'all didn't do that Pepsi commercial? I'm like, because they were trying to make us look like herbs and suckers. He said, yeah, but y'all was the lead commercial. That was y'all commercial. That's what we was going to use for y'all rollout. I'm like, what the hell is a rollout? That's what we was going to use to get y'all notoriety and put y'all name out. So y'all left. So y'all squandered a great opportunity. You were going to be the lead in the Pepsi commercial. I'm like, what the hell is a lead? Again, I don't know. So he like, you see that rapping part that was supposed to be doing that you had to memorize? That was your part. And it was just a lip sync part. Okay. He was serious though. So I'm thinking they playing. He like, yo, y'all might as well not come up here no more. Y'all might as well leave. So I'm like, hold on. What the hell going on? So I turn to OJ. I'm like, OJ, what's up? What's going on? Words that was said to me in 1992, I never forgot in my life. He said, what happened to do what? Let me get this right. Let me get this right. He looked at me and he said, what happens to people who don't do their job? I said, what? He said, they get fired. I never forgot that since then. So that's why I'm very punctual. That's why I do what I gotta do, because not doing that commercial cost us the record deal, cost Trackmasters not want to deal with us no more. We was just back in the hood, doing nothing. Unfortunately, half went on to get killed in the hood. In 1996, just a few years later, only thing that came about from it is that I had got some studio equipment and I was trying for us, but it just wasn't the same no more for them. It was the same for me. That's why I'm where I'm at today. But for them, it wasn't the same. Me and OJ and Ty continue to have a great relationship, because from that point, I learned, be about your business, be punctual, don't turn down opportunities unless you investigate the opportunity, whether it's gonna be good for you or not. So the moral of the story is, for you artists, investigate all opportunities. Make sure it's not something that you should be doing based off of your ego or what you think you shouldn't be doing, because how you gonna look and how you gonna be depicted. If we had did that commercial, I might not have been sitting here, because we would have had a Pepsi commercial. And the Pepsi commercial was, my summer was pumping hard. With my Pepsi Gotta Have It card. If you could find that commercial, send it to me. It existed. And then the commercial came out. And I was like, yo, that was the commercial. And you know who was the lead in the video? That kid I thought was a herb. He just became a star now because he had a lead in a Pepsi commercial that we turned down because it wasn't street enough. So don't get caught up in this faux street stuff and get tricked out of your position because we did it. Lost a record deal, lost a production deal. The producers nobody was messing with us no more. But they was messing with me because I got really serious at that time. I got really serious about business, being punctual. I used to call Trackmaster, yo, could I come to the studio? And they'd be like, yeah. And I would go there and sit quiet. I wouldn't say nothing. They'd be like, why are you so quiet? I said, yo, I'm not really quiet, but I don't want to come here and do or say nothing to make y'all want to kick me out. So I'm just chilling. I'm just, just soaking up the moment. We in Chungking. We in these big studios. $200, $250 an hour studios, so I was a young kid just being around soaking up the game because I never wanted that feeling again of losing because of my mentality. I never wanted that feeling again of being naive, stupid, and thinking I was too good and too street to do something. That was my lesson. So don't trick yourself out of your position thinking you too good to do something, because it costs us a lot. That's it. I just wanted to tell y'all that this is today's story time. I'm gonna be telling these periodically. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. It has its own playlist and everything. If you didn't see the previous two stories, I tell the story about the Capadonna record deal that never happened, the sadness of interviewing Big Pun Family originally and what made me not like the music business for a long time, and now I'm telling you this, and it's gonna be more. I got a lot more. I got since 1992 worth of stories to tell you. I'm gonna tell you, this is stuff that I'm, prepping for my book. So I appreciate y'all. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. And if you learn anything, holla at me. Until next time, peace.